This show is sponsored by PowerfulWomenUSA.com. Hey everybody, I'm Jill Conway, and this is Secrets of Powerful Women, a show dedicated to celebrating and supporting strong and successful women and sharing their stories. I'm hoping that you will be inspired to pursue your own dreams, reclaim your voice, and discover your strengths. So my guest today is Wendy Meadows, and Wendy is a seasoned family law attorney. She's a former litigator, and she's now a certified life coach. She is also a mediator and the author of the best-selling book, Sparkle and Grit, which guides high-achieving women to break free from burnout and live on purpose. So Wendy, welcome in. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here.
We had a great conversation before when we first connected. So I look forward to just translating that to here. So Wendy, I want to talk about the book first, and then we'll circle back into everything else. So it's called Sparkle and Grit, but there's a long name to it. Sparkle and Grit: live a technicolor life by finally finding balance, escaping monotony, and beating burnout.
Yes.
And there it is. I love the color too. It's my colors. So let's start there. What made you write the book?
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, I always knew I wanted to write a book, like my whole entire life. And then I wanted to make sure my coaching was accessible to anyone who wanted it. Because as I'm sure, you're aware, life coaching is not cheap and it's an investment in yourself, but it's not one that everyone can afford. And so part of me is I wanted to take all of my life coaching principles and put them into a book that was obviously much more affordable. But also I wanted to reach that person who was really me, who is Wendy in 2015, because this book is written for me in 2015, and it is the roadmap and guide to get her out of the stuckness she was in at that time. And I know if I was feeling that way, I'm sure many other women feel that way too. So it's my way of reaching over, holding her hand and saying, okay, we've got this, we're going to get through, and this is how we're going to do it step by step.
Oh, all right. So it begs the question, what were you going through in 2015?
Goodness. Well, I wasn't going through anything per se, but I was miserable. Like looking back, I was living in what I call 50 shades of gray, not the fun kind. And, so it's like lots of gray, but it was.
Meaning what? Yeah. Meaning what? What does that mean?
So I think so many of us, like we're the A student, right? Like we check all the boxes. We do everything we're supposed to do. Like we get married, we have the kids, we have the dog, we buy the house in the country. Like in my line of work, it was becoming partner and then becoming AV rated the Martindale, becoming a super lawyer, like basically doing all the things we're supposed to be doing in order to like look great on paper.
And you think you're going to feel great when you have accomplished those.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
go ahead.
I was not feeling so great. And again, if I rewind and go back to then, right? Obviously not, because in 2015, I had like a 18-month-old and a almost 4. So basically a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. I was exhausted. I wasn't taking care of myself physically or mentally whatsoever. And I was living Groundhog Day. So like, that's why I talk about like escaping monotony. Like every day looked the same. I dreaded the weekends.
Because why? Yeah.
Work is so much easier.
It is.
Because work, like coming to work and getting on my email hamster wheel and even like fighting with clients and fighting with opposing counsel, that was easier than wrangling 2 kids, right?
Yes, it is easier. Yeah. I don't think people talk about how tough it is to be a parent, and you want to be a good parent. So it's like, I call that age, especially because I'm in a different age now where my kids are college years and it's still hard. But the trenches, like you are deep in the trenches and you don't see like any light.
Oh, and at the time it was like social media existed, but it didn't exist in the way it did today. And I didn't have my network the way I do today. And had I had Marco Polo or my Facebook groups or all that, had I had that back then, I think would have been a lot easier just with other like women in the trenches with me. But I was like, looking back, I was alone. I remember longing for a best friend. Like I don't have a best friend right now. I remember feeling low, like not only was I alone, but I was lonely, right? And again, probably at work, I didn't have time to be lonely because it was like work, 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 go, go, go at the top of my game, and then coming home and like struggling. Am I doing things right? I don't know. And then the long stretches of boredom, it can be kind of boring, waiting
doing laundry and never ending laundry. It's like you just feel like you're just, yeah. Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. And then something in 2015, I started climbing out and I figured out like, oh, okay, like life doesn't have to look this way anymore. And step by step, I climbed out of it. And I was like, I could slowly start to breathe again. I remembered who Wendy was again. And I also firmly believe you don't really come online again until your youngest is 18 months. I think however many children you have, your brain's sort of like a mush mash mess. Like you are, like your body is everybody else's but your own until you finally hit that, like maybe a year. And then you have 6 months of like recalibrating, getting back together. And then you're finally, okay, like
Right.
it's
You're
time to
right.
try again.
It's a blur. It's a complete blur. Yeah. When you said that, how did you get back online then? Like how were you how'd you do it?
Yeah. The first thing is I started doing this program, exercise program called T25 with Sean T. I don't know if you know him or familiar.
Oh, yeah, my husband has those DVDs or whatever, tapes or whatever they were then, right?
We had some like bootleg. I don't feel guilty about this anymore. I did at the time. We had like a bootleg copy, like my law partner and I. And every day we wouldn't do it together, but we would, he gave me some copy. We were doing it. And then we would check in at work, like, oh my gosh, what about this? Oh my gosh, what about that? And it was just like 25 minutes a day. And then I started feeling my body changing. My body was changing, like physically. I was probably sleeping better. I was feeling better. I was feeling more comfortable in my skin. I was having accountability and fun with like an office mate, right? And then it was the trifecta too. It was his words of inspiration. Like Shanti like would say these little nuggets and things. And I was like, I can do it, or I can do hard things, or I am accomplishing. And just him like pouring into me first thing every morning and me pouring into myself first thing every morning. And then going into work and having again that like accountability, things just all of a sudden became lighter. Right. And I just like, okay, I think I can see the other side here. Something's brewing. And then that like delved into, so that was like 2015. And then January, I for real bought, as I felt guilty at this point, I bought it. I bought the real like T25 DVDs, right? Because I felt so guilty. And I was like, okay, I have it for real now. And I joined like a group, like an accountability group online with other women. And I was like, oh, I can coach other women. And so this is now beginning 2016, I became a health and wellness coach on accident. I wasn't meaning to, it just happens. I had such a great time in the group. I'm like, well, I think I could do this for others, primarily lawyer moms. Like those were my niche people. And again, it kept snowballing, snowballing, snowballing. And next thing I knew, I had like an accountability group with like 20 women in it, like girls from high school, girls from middle school, other law moms, as we call them, other people in my community. And the snowball just kept getting bigger and bigger.
And then and then what? I mean, I know there was you suffered a few losses in your life that kind of continued to pivot you.
Yeah. So this whole thing's starting to snowball, and as this in a good way, like snowball, like, gaining momentum. And at the same time, I'm looking around thinking, is my legal life all there is? Is this my whole entire profession? It's a noble profession. I think very highly people who are like just stay in the lawyer lane. I didn't know if that was the lane I wanted to be in, especially by doing this other finding this other industry and meeting other people who weren't lawyers, and weren't this like black and white have to be a certain way. I'm like, maybe there's something else out there for me. And then around the same time, two of my colleagues passed away within like short succession of each other. And again, it made me think, looking at one woman's obituary, and she was a light. I mean, they were both lights, but like this one woman in particular was such a light and so vibrant, and her obituary was filled with all sorts of loving ways she gave back to the community, right? And being a mom and all these other things. And the other woman, also a light, but like her whole entire obituary was law. It was just about her contributions to the law and being a lawyer and doing this and doing that. And no shade on her whatsoever, but I'm like, that's not what I want my entire obituary to be. I don't want it to just be about being a lawyer. That doesn't feel good to me. And then the next thing, so like those two women passed away. I don't recall quite when, but again, it's all in that like soup of things happening. And then my stepfather passed away suddenly in 2018. He was a cyclist and he was hit by a car. And that sent a jolt like through our whole family. And it sent a jolt through me in terms of my stepdad was a lot of things, a lot of things, but he was a Renaissance man. And he was someone that did what he wanted, and he lived life very, very fully. And I think that was my wake up call to be like, all right, Wendy, something's got to give. Like this, it's time. Like you could die like any day now. Is like it's if you want to move some mountains, it's time to move some mountains. And at that time, I was still with my firm, and it was like, okay, the first thing I got to do is leave the firm. I have to go solo for a variety of reasons, but it's time to open my own business. One of the reasons being I need to think about what's my next step, and I need to do that on my own as opposed to being in a partnership with others. And then again, like, and I need to live life kind of like he did, unapologetically, and not kind of giving a crap what anyone else thinks, and just doing things the way I know I needed to do them.
Yeah. So you started, that was the beginning of that part of your life. You started your own firm or went on solo.
Now we're in 2018, right? So things started like moving pretty quickly. So 2015 started Wake Up. 2016 became a health and wellness coach. 2018 went on my own. And then it took me 2 years to kind of figure out what was the next step because, opening your own law firm like takes a lot.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be the first investor in myself, right? So by like cranking up the volume on the law and the litigation and doing what I knew how to do, I was able to basically fund, right? Okay, what's Wendy's next career? And that was she wants to be a life coach. I'm talking about myself in third person, but like she wants to be
that too. It's okay. Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like that's what I knew I wanted to do. So I did a program. I got certified. I invested in my own coaches and in my own teams to get me to the next steps. And like and I continue to do so. Continue to invest and continue to find the right person to coach me to get to the next spot. And it's still growing and evolving. But now, like again, I have two businesses that I have created completely on my own, the law firm and then this coaching industry or the coaching business that's like coaching and consulting and speaking and authoring and doing all these cool things. And again, like I said, it's still forming and growing in ways I never thought possible.
That's so cool. So I want to ask you, I'm sure because I know a lot of lawyers, what was the reaction when you decided, and if you even told them like, all right, I'm kind of doing this health and wellness coach on the side, right?
The initial reaction was so many eye rolls. I know people were talking, I know like my friends and colleagues were talking about me when I wasn't in the room. And I knew maybe a couple people were standing up for me. I knew a couple of people were standing up for me, but mostly what's Wendy doing? Why is she doing that? Does she have an eating disorder? Because like I lost a lot of weight quickly because
Sure.
I was rapidly changing my body quickly,
and you were happy and you were getting happy. And I feel like that, that affects things.
I know, but it does.
Yeah.
Right. But it was never a problem. I definitely did not have an eating disorder, but like, people, I think they can't wrap their brains around someone doing something different. And so the initial feedback was a lot of what the heck?
Crazy. Yeah. What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah. And I cared at first. I mean, it hurt my feeling. It definitely hurt my feelings and I cared. But then the cool thing that happened, and of course I didn't get this on comments and I didn't get this from the peanut gallery, but like pretend like I would go to a wedding or a bar event or something else. And people like, oh my gosh, I've been seeing your posts. I love them so much. Because of your posts, I started to work out more. I'm like, you did? Like, yeah. I'm like, I had no idea. And that would happen more and more and more. And then the DMs I would get and the messages I would get, or the people in my groups and I was seeing their life change because of what I was pouring into them. And because I decided to take this leap of faith and then help them, like that outweighed the bad. And then I started thinking like, okay, do I really care what these people think? Like, really? Like, it's such a tiny microcosm, like, no, like I'm the impact I have to make is much bigger. But there was a lot of eye rolls and there was a lot of, do you even make money with that? Or are you going to leave the law, I was working with Beachbody at the time. Are you just going to become like a Beachbody coach? Is that what you're going to do? Like, I don't even now. I still like say it with like probably like a stick. Was like that's how it was presented.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
And yeah, so it was initially a lot of eye rolls, but now it's completely the opposite. So stuck with this for 10 years, and now it's Wendy's the healthy lawyer. Oh, we're in Maryland. Like I'm in Maryland. And we need a healthy speaker. Oh, get Wendy Meadows. Or, oh, we need someone to present on work-life balance and burnout. Oh, get Wendy Meadows. Oh, we need someone to write this article. Oh, Wendy Meadows. So it went from eye rolls from my teeny tiny microcosm I was in to, if I'm looking at the whole freaking state, people are like, oh, let's have her come and speak and write and present. And then now the cool thing what's happening is that's expanding to like states, bar associations, international companies, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So yeah, the after effect is wild.
Wow, wow. So then really, and now you, like you say, like, I think in the book or part of your whole program is that you help women avoid burn. Is it avoid burnout or recover from burnout?
It's
Both.
avoid honestly, it's recognize. If we're being super, it's recognize it, catch it, and we're going to get burnout. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen again and again and again. But the idea is that we recognize it faster and that the periods are shorter, right? Because it's part of it's the nature of the beast. Like if we there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many like time work life balance tips we can incorporate, and we incorporate as many as we can. But sometimes you just really have to grit. Like that's the reality of the situation. So it's recognizing when it's happening and making, again, sure the periods get smaller and smaller until, and that you recognize what they are. Like, oh, this is burnout. No, oh, not, oh, this is failure and I'm doing something wrong.
Well, what are the symptoms then of burnout then? What do you
My first one, I always laugh. My first one, when I can tell I'm burnt out, is when I'm knocking into counters. Like when my hips catch too many counters
Oh
and too
God,
many, like,
corners. Oh my God.
mhm.
Mm.
But whenever that happens, I'm like, okay, something's going on here. Like, or if I start drop again when I'm in the kitchen, I start like dropping things like weirdly. I'm like, what the heck is happening? I'm like, okay, I need to check in. Uh, those are those. That's when I noticed it the most. When I'm getting too spiky with my loved ones, so I
Like you
notice
mean sassy, you mean? Like yeah, yeah, okay.
like
Okay.
sassy spiky when I'm just like not like a porcupine, like no one wants to be around me, or I don't want to be around anybody. And or when it's I get home and instead of oh, let's sit down and hang out, or oh, I'm excited to make dinner, or like I'm excited to be home and like want to do something fun. I'm like, I just need to sit on the couch and drink wine. Like, okay, like I've noticed some of those coping mechanisms are coming online too quickly. That brain fog where my brain just can't think straight. Another one is, and I can tell in my handwriting. So these are all like really weird signs, right? So my handwriting, if I just start writing on a piece of paper and it's like beautiful handwriting, like super crisp and clear, I'm good. If it looks like a mess and I'm like, okay. So like these are all little pieces where I'm like, okay, something's going on here. She's exhausted. She's tired. She's overrunning herself. Her system is starting to shut down in odd ways. This is where we need to like start paying attention.
Ooh. And then what do you do then? I mean, like, what's your first course of action? I'm just gonna recharge, meditate. Like, what do you do?
First course of action, again, like recognize it. And then it's like, okay, Wendy, I know you're tired and burnt out and you just want to watch Netflix and drink wine, but no, you're going to go to bed early, right? So first course of action is getting sleep in however I can get sleep. Second course is, am I working out? Like, is like working out is like, for me, that is the first step to like recovery, I think, in so many different ways. So like, am I working out? Have I been to the gym? Right now I'm doing Orange Theory and hot yoga. That's about to shift here soon because of other shifting things in my life shifting soon. But like, am I actually working out, or do I just think I'm working out because I say I work out and I'm subscribed to these things, right? So like being really intentional. And again, like thinking about the sugar and alcohol that I'm consuming and thinking, okay, first thing first, Wendy, when you wake up, are you making sure I'm not looking at my phone, making sure I'm not like on email or social media, making sure that as soon as I wake up, I'm not right down to the computer and I'm plugging into myself first. So really like I know all the good habits, but making sure I'm actually following them, because I think so often we do a good habit for so long, we assume that we're still doing it until we check ourselves. We're like, oh, I'm actually not doing this anymore. Interesting, and making sure we like jump back into it.
So that's interesting because I've started to do that the last few months where I do not pick up my phone in for a while. And I now sometimes I almost like dread having to pick up my phone at some point to I know, right? And although I love I just feel like my phone just blows up sometimes. Either there's a group text with, however many people or it just keeps going. So um but it's so interesting because if you do that, you really you're able to regulate yourself a lot more.
100%. Because if we first thing get on our phone and we're looking at the email or LinkedIn or Instagram or what have you, we're letting everyone else control our day. We're letting everyone else tell us the tone that we're setting for the day, what we're dealing with first, how we feel, et cetera, before even feet are even on the ground. As opposed to like when we decide, right? We decide, wait a second, like what's ahead of me today? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? What do I want to bring to this to this particular day. We get to decide first and decide what we're going to tackle, right? Like it's so important that we do that rather than our phone decide, again, like how we feel. Because we all know when we read that annoying email first thing in the morning, and then maybe we lay our head back down on the pillow, but then we're like, we're drafting the response, right? And we're getting angrier and angrier and more frustrated till we get out of bed and get on the email. And then like,
and then you're like, why did that person email me so early or so late? Whatever, but you're responding.
I know.
Right? Like, it's
right?
like, don't respond.
I know.
Yeah.
But like it takes us, right? Even if we say, okay, I'm not going to respond right away, it's still like eating at us for like the next several hours. And for me, like those first hours in the morning, like that's my happy time. That's my juicy time. That's for me. Why am I going to give that to somebody else? It's no good.
So for high achieving women, because I think this is probably one of the hardest things, how do they achieve that work-life balance? Because I feel like we have been taught or we've assumed that self-care is selfish. I think we spoke about this on the phone earlier, but I mean, it's like we're programmed into it, or the people try to tell us that, like, don't do that. Don't make that hour for yourself. Do things for me, and I don't mean little kids. I mean,
Like
yeah.
So, well, number one, like I think I just, and I know you do too, like we disagree that self-care is selfish because we can't be our best selves unless we plug into ourselves first, right? And obviously we're going to be better for everyone else that we're trying to support if we plug into ourselves first, right? And I'm hoping that that's becoming, and it's what I've seen in my clients. It's not so much that people are telling them it's selfish. They just feel it's more internal guilt that they feel about it. Right. And then like, well, why am I going to give myself this time when I have all these other things to do? And my response would be every time you give yourself that much time, you actually clear so much like brain clutter and you give yourself brain space. And when you need to do these other things, you're actually going to be better and more efficient at them. Right. Because like we have combated brain fog and we're just a happier, healthier human who is then actually able to achieve more. I do think people who work out regularly are able to achieve more because we're kind of working at a faster pace because that's how our brain started each and every day. But with regard to achieving work-life balance, again, it's not like we get to the top of the mountain and we're done. It's a constant struggle, and it's a constant like rebalancing of things. And we're never going to be perfect. Like, I like the word balance because I think people like understand it like in their heads a little bit faster, or it's a good term for what we're trying to discuss, which is making sure that we are the best worker we can be, the best mom we can be, the best friend, wife, sister, etc. And maybe balance is the wrong word, but it's like how I look at it is each and every day we say, like, again, we do a scan of the day. Okay, what requires our attention the most? Today, what is it? And some days it's going to be work, and some days it's going to be family, but making sure you've made that decision, decided who you need to be for that moment of the day or that part of the day, and you go all in. And not that you're second guessing yourself, okay, I'm going on at work, but I'm not doing this over here. Like, no, you made the decision, you're going all in with like the big work meeting. You've made arrangements for your kids. They will be fine. Your spouse will be fine. But this is where you need to be, period. And like, again, like getting rid of that brain clutter. And I believe that's what helps us with work-life balance. So we feel like this piece of like equilibrium and peace.
Well, do you think, I mean, I understand what you're saying, right? And it is, you have to reclaim that time for yourself. But someone always says, is there work-life balance? Is it this perfect case scenario? And I don't think it is. I think it's it's flexible.
Yeah, exactly. It changes it changes every single day. And I think it's not like it's work life, it's like perfectly seesawed like this, but it's like we've decided where we need to be and we're not letting our brain seesaw like this all day, because that's what causes the frustration. I think that we aren't where we think we need to be, rather than deciding in the morning, this is where I need to be and this is where my attention is required. I'm going to be there. And then we've reached like an equilibrium balance in that moment.
Right. Ooh, okay. All right. So, all right. We're almost at 25 minutes. So I wanted to pause here. We're going to have so much more to talk about. We'll be back with Wendy Meadows after the commercial break. You're listening to Secrets of Powerful Women. Stay with us. Hi, everybody. I'm Jill Conway. Thank you so much for listening and loving the Secrets of Powerful Women podcast. If you could, please like and subscribe to my channel on Spotify or iHeart, Apple Music, Audible, and YouTube, it will help me expand the show and bring you more incredible women who are inspiring you with their stories. I am so grateful for your support, so thank you. Keep listening and share this with your friends. We're changing the world. All right, welcome back. You're listening to Secrets of Powerful Women. Wendy Meadows is with me. Wendy, I want to talk about, you have something, the book Sparkle and Grit. Mm-hmm. And what do you even mean first by the, sparkle and grit? What does that mean exactly?
Yeah. So sparkle and grit is this beautiful synergy. And I believe with these two together, like you can accomplish anything. So sparkle is that hint of inspiration lying in your path designed to wake you up. So it's when you get like you hear someone talk about something, you see something online, or you have an idea across your brain, like, oh, I should do that. Or that's so cool. She's doing that. I want to do that. Or and as I'm talking about it, I can even feel it. It's like sort of like that butterfly feeling in your stomach. And it's like, ooh, and it wakes you up and you get like excited, like, oh, this could be the next thing. Right. And we can't have it by itself because then it's like lending sort of like we don't get anywhere with just sparkle and just ideas and just inspiration. We need the grit to power us through. But I look at grit as like tiny steps of perseverance and baby steps. I don't look at grit as being some like awful, terrible grind till you fall over. That's not my version of grit. Mm-hmm. But it's more just showing up every day and keep taking the steps to get it done. So I believe sparkle and grit together, like it's our purpose and it's our action plan. And with that, it's like, that's how we accomplish great things. Mm-hmm. So.
What do you think about when people say, because I saw this on, I think an Instagram reel, that and everyone tries to sell this, and I kind of don't believe in it, that the harder you work, the further you'll get. I kind of don't believe that anymore.
I think it depends. So let's pretend, like, for example, like, let's say the book, right? When I was writing the book, I mean, I worked really hard to get it done. Like I worked really hard and I woke up every morning and the first half hour of every morning, I paid attention to it, or I was writing. I set a timer to write, and I was consumed. I was utterly consumed with writing this book for 6 months. I worked really hard, and it got done.
But did you love it? Did you love what you were doing?
That's the difference. Like I loved it, and I was in a state of flow, and it didn't feel like work. It was amazing. It wasn't a grind. It was just like my happy spot. Right. And like other things that I'll create like online or like giveaways or PDFs or something, when I'm in it and I'm in flow, when I am writing, I'm in my happy spot. When I'm mediating, because we haven't really talked about my legal career, but when I'm mediating and it's hard work, but I'm in flow, I'm in my happy spot. So I'm working hard, but I'm achieving a lot because I think, like you're saying, like I'm in a good spot. Right. If I'm grinding, it's something I have no desire to do, I'm not going to achieve any sort of good result. I think if anything, like I'll achieve less of a result and become burnt out and keel over and fall apart. Right.
Yeah. No, you're right. Well, let's talk about that, the legal career. So your family, you were part of a big firm, right? You've been doing it for decades.
Right.
And then you changed. You were helping people through divorce, and you kind of pivoted a little in that too, and became a mediator. So for people who don't know, what does that mean?
Right. So when I was a part of the firm, and even for my first couple of years here, I was the typical family law attorney, which meant we litigate, we take cases to trial. It means that we are cross-examining, direct examining, calling expert witness, opening, closing, all the stuff you see in the movies, with regard to divorce trials. I mean, some of it doesn't actually happen that way, but that's what we do, right? Like that's what we would do to get the job done. And it involved a lot, like what it looks like behind the scenes is a lot of legal red tape, a lot of paperwork, a lot of arbitrary deadlines, some important, but some arbitrary, some arbitrary things that you need to do that sometimes really don't matter or don't result in anything, and a lot of fighting. And that's the part I hated. It was so much fighting. And it wasn't just fighting with opposing counsel. It was fighting with opposing counsel, sometimes who are your friends. Because in the family law bar, we all become good friends. Like we hang out together, we break bread together, we eat together, and we become, we're colleagues. But when you have a really highly contested case and your best friend's on the other side, or one of your best friends, it sucks. It sucks so bad. Yeah. And it really starts to eat at you. So I hated that part. Like I had several friendships suffer, at least while we were in the case. Like all the friendships I'm talking about have since been repaired and have since been okay. But, these cases drag on a year, 2 years. And it
Wow.
means like you're losing one of your good friends, or things are awkward with a good friend for a year or two, which
Wow.
is awful. It's awful. And people don't talk about it enough, right?
Wow.
The other part is like you're arguing with your client, right? Because your client will love you at first and think you're amazing. You go to bat for them. You do as best of a job as you can do, but then you start to see like the chinks in the case, like the chinks in the armor. Like you see that, okay, like there are two sides to this story,
Mm-hmm.
and or you have to settle the case, or you have to give advice they don't necessarily love once you have seen all the documents and you have heard all the evidence, and like you're trying to settle before spending gajillions of dollars going to trial. And then you're fighting with your client too. And then you're taking all that fighting with your friend, or all that fighting with opposing counsel maybe you don't like at all, because that is also awful. All that fighting with your client, you're taking that all that animosity and all that conflict, and you're going home and it's like spewing there too. So that was my experience, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the dichotomy of waking up in the morning, coaching women, breathing life into them, and then several hours later be cross-examining a woman and like tearing her down. And I'm like, this isn't me. This doesn't feel right. I don't like it. And even though I like maybe believed in my client and my client's story, I thought, there's a better way. And my skill set is better suited elsewhere. My skill set is not being a family law litigator. It's not. And so I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Like, what's the plan here other than coaching? And I really enjoyed mediation. So where mediation is different is I will sign on to the Zoom, or people will come here and I'll have husband and wife on the Zoom with me, or husband and wife sitting across the table from me. And we will together, the three of us, tackle each issue as amicably as we can. Sometimes it's still heated. Sometimes there's still name calling, but I can at least monitor it a little bit better, and we're not playing telephone, right? So with the two parties here, the two parties on my screen, we're all hearing what each other has to say at the same time. And again, like we're reaching resolution much faster and much cheaper. So it's like, okay, what are we doing about custody? What are we doing about the house? What are we doing about retirement assets? And we're coming to these like decisions. When it's not in the mediation context and it's not in the litigation context, the mediation's here. People can see this, like litigation's over here. In the middle, it's like attorneys advocating for their clients and going to bat for their clients, which the clients like, because then they don't have to fight themselves. But the problem when you're here is like this really terrible game of telephone. So client says something to lawyer says something to lawyer says something to client. By the time it has gotten from this client to this client completely garbled, completely messed up, and actually can really make the divorce so much worse. So again, so my goal as mediator is to really get the three of us, me, the parties, in the same room and tackle the issues that way. So that's, and again, it's much more suited towards my personality, which I'm not tearing anyone down. I'm helping two people hear each other, understand each other, and then get to a resolution that's going to be best for their family and their children.
And it took you a while, though. I mean, like you talk about that, but it took you a while to get to where you figured out what would make you happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think everyone's still kind of searching to find out what is happiness to them, and I think it's different for everybody.
100 million%.
So how do you define happiness?
How do I define? I think it's how I recognize happiness and how I recognize unhappiness. So when I recognize happiness, it's like that state of flow. When I mediate, like I look forward to it. I'm excited for it. I'm in the game. It's usually a 2-hour session. It flies by like really quickly. And I feel invigorated. I feel alive. I get after it. I'm like, okay, let's go on a run. I just feel like I have all this energy, and like during it and after it, and my whole body just feels right. Whereas the unhappiness, it was like, I just remember it so vividly cross-examining this woman. But I was in trial, I was in the courtroom, and my stomach was like turning, and I didn't feel right. I felt itchy in my body. I didn't like the words that were coming out of my mouth. I was like, it was like this weird out-of-body experience where everything just felt, itchy is not the right word, frictiony, like so much friction within myself, within my brain, my heart, the words coming out of my mouth. And I'm like, this isn't right. Like, this isn't for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you also, I think beyond everything else, you also advise other lawyers who want to go solo.
Yes.
Too. And that's a process, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
You're kind of working with them in their mental state, their mindset.
Yes. So like when they come to me, usually first for a consult, like I'm thinking of leaving my firm, but I don't know if it's a good idea or not. And we we talk for like a good half hour, because sometimes for some people it's not a good idea. For some people, like, I ask them a variety of questions. It might be, I'm like, you actually are doing really well there, and you have all these opportunities, and like your book of business isn't really built yet. Like, it might be better for you to like stay put. We have an honest conversation about what might be the best next career move for them. But some are just like ready. So it's some who land in my lap, they know it. They just need someone else to confirm it. They need to look at, I have this little calculator I use so they can see how much money they can make. And they're like, for how many little hours they need to work. And they're like, are you freaking serious? I'm like, yep.
Wow.
And they see that, and they need someone to be like, it's okay. It's okay. And I'm going to hold your hand. And then with those, I help them through, realizing they want to do it, the breakup conversation, because it is a breakup conversation with the firm you're with, and building their business. And I stay with them through their first month of practice, so they know like how to build their clients and how to run their business, etc., before I set them free.
Wow. That's, oh my God, you do it all. I don't know how you have any time for yourself, but, so let's talk about, you talk about pause time playbook, right? Pause time playbook.
The pause time playbook. Yes.
All right. Tell us what that is.
Yeah. So it's a spinoff of the journal I created. So I also have a Sparkle and Grit journal that it takes you through like half a year of prompts and gets you to like where you need to be in these itty bitty ways. And the pause time playbook is the same thing, but just for 7 days. And it's a free PDF I give to the podcast hosts where I get to be guests on podcasts, so you can share it with your audience. But the main thing it does is it really, when you journal in this way every day, it allows you to pause time. And what I mean by that is we get to pause time going forwards and backwards. And when we do that and really pay attention, for example, let me give you an example so I can explain what I mean. So one of the prompts I ask is, what made yesterday great? Like, what was fantastic yesterday? And that gives you a moment to like sit and really reflect on the day before, rather than going through life like this, because we go through life so quickly. Think about what was great. And you can think back, and it might be, like when I was putting my daughter to bed last night, she reached up to me and said, Mommy, thank you so much for taking me to Target today. That really meant a lot to me, and blah, 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 whatever. And then when you do that, like, you get to relive that moment. And when you're reliving that moment, it's almost like we get to like pause time, because like we were like, it's like the world stops for a moment. We can be in it, we feel it again, and it becomes more solidified in our bones that way, rather than us like moving so quickly we would have forgotten it, right? Because we would have forgotten that even happened had we not reflected on the yesterday. And again, like, and looking through our journal in years to come, you're like, oh yeah, this did happen, cool. So again, it's like we're pausing time and actually like getting to live in that moment again, almost like an out-of-body experience, and like look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's so cool. Like that happened. And the same thing going forwards. Meaning looking at the day ahead and thinking, okay, like, who do I need to be? Like, so for example, when I was doing my trial work and thinking about how I needed to present in trial, I can think of several situations with quite particularity. Like, I need to be confident. I need to be well-spoken. I need to be unwavering, and thinking about who I wanted to be before the moment even came. And then, so taking that moment before it's even there to, again, close your eyes, embrace yourself, have this out-of-body experience, visualizing it before you're even there. And then you're there in that moment, and you remember, we've done a dress rehearsal. Okay, I'm here. This is how I'm supposed to be: calm, confident, unwavering. And we are, because we've decided. And then the really cool thing happens, and when it's the next day and we're doing that, what made yesterday great? I'm like, in trial, when I got that piece of evidence in, because I was these things. And then again, it's like we pause time before we got there in it, because it's like this weird thing happens, like, oh, I'm here again, out of body experience, and then reflecting on it the next day. It's like we're creating this like core memory. And when we create this core memory, sort of like the movie, have you seen Inside Out? The movie?
Who's in it?
It's Pixar. It's animated.
Okay. I don't think so. Okay. I feel like my kids may have. I don't know. I
feel like it should be required viewing for everybody. Like,
tell me what it's about, and then that'll jog my memory.
It's these various. Okay. So it's this little girl. I can't even remember her name. It's this little girl, Riley, and you can see the emotions in her brain, and they have this control panel, and they're deciding, how Riley is. I think her name's Riley. How she's going to feel that day. So you have joy, sadness, disgust, anger, and anger. I might be missing one, but there's the 4, and they get to control like how she's feeling. And what they also like kind of watch is like when she forms these core memories, right? And Joy wants all of her core memories to be happy, like happy core memories. But like she forms these core memories that she has forever and ever that she can draw from and remember like in her future. And we are made up of like our humanness is made up of like I think all these core memories that we have. When we decide like, okay, who is Wendy as a human being, right? And I want to go back and I want to look at like just like a bunch of marbles. Look at the marbles that make me the most proud of myself. Essentially is how I look at the core memories and the marble piece. If your viewers have seen Inside Out, I think they'll like kind of see what I'm getting at. So the cool thing with the Pause Time Playbook is we get to manufacture what the marbles we're holding are, what our core memories are, and making sure that the core memories, when we think about ourselves, that they match who we want to be. Like we get to decide. So again, like pausing time, and then when we look back and like look at this handful of all these marbles that we've decided who we want to be, how we want to react, who is Wendy in these particular moments, and we're really proud of them. Again, like we get to pause time, we have that mindfulness, and we have decided like to the core who we are as a person, rather than again being reactive and letting everybody else decide. We decide like how we are made up.
I think that's very cool because I think also you're able to, so many people dismiss their accomplishments or dismiss the good things that happen to the day, and they only harp on the bad things that happen. So I think that's a great thing to do, where you go through and like, right, what worked today? Where did I feel alive and fun? When did I have, I think that's very important.
100%.
Yeah. Definitely. And your journal, though, I want to talk about because, like you said, you have very specific questions. So, just give like two. Like I think you give one or two, but okay. So you have a whole thing. Okay, you're organized. You're an attorney, Wendy.
But it only takes like 7 minutes, and it's like fun to fill out, and it's spiral bound, right? Because don't you hate when journals like you have to like crack and open and okay. So the two other that I'll share with you today, because this is important too. Just like we need to look at the good stuff and we need to solidify that. And I believe if we're not growing, like where the heck are we? Like where are we going if we're not growing? So another prompt is, however, there was one place where I could have done better with work, family, friends, or me. And reflecting back and being like, all right, I kind of screwed up here. And this is where I need to do a better job. And it might be, maybe I shouldn't be such a yelling mommy. It might be, okay, I scrolled Instagram too much and I really should have done that task or whatever. It might be, hey, and some days it might be, you know what? Yesterday, I'm damn proud of myself. I'm good. Like, and there are times I'm like, you know what? Yesterday was pretty damn good. Like I actually am good. But to reflect on, where we can do a better job, in life.
Yeah.
And the other one, which I think is really important, especially for the people with like young kiddos, is, or even like, I guess, teenage kiddos, a concrete way I will plug into my family today. Because sometimes, like, when we're super crazy busy and we have like meetings up the wazoo, we know we're only getting to see our kids maybe in the morning as they're waking up or at night as they're going to sleep. And that might be it. And we get like 10 minutes and we're like, oh, I'm a failure as a mother because I don't get to see them at all. But thinking about, okay, number one, you're not a failure as a mother, but just having, okay, I have 10 minutes I get to spend with my kids. What am I going to do with those 10 minutes to really make it stick? So like, again, thinking to yourself, okay, should I be nagging them about that test? Or should it be, you know what, honey, we haven't looked at like the latest Holderness family video together yet. Why don't we do that? Or, hey, I want to wake up a little bit. Hey, do you want me to wake up a little bit early? I'll do like the special French braid in your hair, or, hey, why don't we do like finding something concrete and special where you're plugging in and like deciding how you're intentionally going to interact with your family, as opposed to, again, just like being in mom mode. We're like, get it done, get it done.
Well, then it's like you're checking it in, right? Like you're just like, you're not really in the moment. You're not paying attention to how you're behaving or how you're acting. And yeah, I think that's hard for a lot of people though to do.
It is. It you get used to it, right? Because like sometimes it's as simple as when I go to the soccer game, I won't look at my phone, right? And then it could be you're at the soccer game and you're like reaching for your phone, like, oh, I need to see who emailed me right now. And like, no, I wrote down, like, I'm not looking at my phone. Throw down your phone because you wrote it. Like you wrote, like, if, we have these like powerful women, we're capable of achieving so much. We're also capable of like letting ourselves like decide, how we want to show up as a family member for an hour or 5 minutes. 10 minutes. Like we can achieve big things. We can do this too.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. let's talk about you. One of the topics you talk about is when success doesn't match on, or it's, you're successful on paper, but it doesn't translate. And you mentioned a little bit in the beginning of the podcast, but um, what does that mean exactly? Like
Yeah,
you look like you have it all.
yeah, you look like you have it all, but you're like, you have this like overwhelming feeling of, is this really it? Like I did all this. It doesn't feel like how I thought. Like
Mm,
the birds aren't singing or chirping, like it's like what's going on here? And you feel like you can't breathe and you feel like you're suffocating and you don't feel this lightness, instead you feel heaviness. And I think when that happens, it's getting really intentional about, okay, if this doesn't feel like how I thought it would, what might, or what might make
mm,
it better? And like, what else maybe is going on in my life too? And being really realistic with yourself about what else is going on. But
mm,
also it might be like redefining what success looks like. So for me, at first it was being a partner at a law firm, like
mm,
that was it at first. And then I was like, no, I want to have a different impact on the world. And really being intentional, again, doing the work, and figuring out what that is. And trial and error, because there's other things I have tried to feel successful, like, or happy, you know, and it didn't quite hit the mark I thought it would either. But I'm like,
mm,
okay, I tried that. Cool. It didn't work. Now let's
mm,
try something else. Right. And just keep experimenting till it does feel right.
Well, I feel like that's like, what I've mentioned before, but like the whispers of your soul, like when you're like, or your soul's calling, you're like something I need, there has to be more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, like that, this is not what right. Like everyone thinks, I think when you look at someone who has achieved such levels of success in whatever field they're in, you automatically think that they are happy and they're so like, they have everything. They have the money. And then sometimes you talk to them, right, and they're like, no, I'm just so frustrated, or I'm so, like you said, it's not what I thought it would be.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's like, it's like the soul. I like the soul whispering, and I've
Yeah.
gotten better and better at listening to her. Right. And I
Yeah.
think we get better with age at listening, and we realize it doesn't steer us wrong when we listen to like that our gut tell us something. And that's also the sparkle, right? Because how I define sparkle is that hint of inspiration designed to wake you up. It's like that sparkle in your path, like somebody put something in your path for some reason. And it's like recognizing it, seeing it, and not ignoring it, not shoving it away, but saying, what if? Maybe
Mm.
that's for me. What if I? Right. And like when those, like, again, like give that, like, the falling in love feeling in your stomach, when you get something like
Mm.
that, like that's where you listen.
Mm. I think it's so admirable when I hear your story, when you say, you're doing all these other things, because a lot of times, and I feel like people are still always asking me, "What are you doing now?" Like, right? I don't know how to take that sometimes, because um, I don't consider myself who's someone who's all over the place, like I'm pretty locked in and focused, but I have very diversified interests.
Okay. Me too.
And for you to go to a lawyer, which a law is, you're all in,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then to be like, this is great, and you probably still love law, right? You're still,
I
but
love you.
there can be something in addition
Yeah.
to it,
Agreed.
and we
Agreed.
shouldn't shame each other into like, no, but you're a lawyer. That's it.
I know. We shouldn't shame each other, and we shouldn't shame ourselves, because I will say same thing. Like I identified with the word scattered for way too long.
Mm,
I'm like, because I think I assumed other people thought I was scattered. Again, like, what are you doing now? What are you
right,
doing? How are you doing that? How are you making? And I started to wear that identity, and I'm like, oh,
right.
I am scattered. I'm all over the place. And like I started believing that. And
Mm,
then last summer I was on a retreat in Oregon, and our coach had us like bring in something we want and like leave something that we didn't. And we did
mm,
it like with this rose quartz. It was like this beautiful kind of like ceremony. And I'm like, I am leaving behind the word scattered. It doesn't serve me. I don't identify with it. It's not actually who I am. I'm actually very hyper organized. I just move quickly and I get a lot done, but I am not scattered. And ever since that time, when I like literally gave it to the ocean and held my
mm,
quartz, like gave it away, um, it changed. Like something, it was, I can point to that moment, like standing on the beach, like when I stopped identifying with that word, because I realized I was putting it on myself. Like, who cares what everyone else thinks? Like they don't see my QuickBooks. They don't see my income. They don't see my joy getting to do all the many things I get to do. It's not really their business. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just doing myself a disservice if I call myself anything but like inspired.
Right. So what advice would you give to a woman or whomever listening and they're saying, I'm doing this one thing and I'm really good at it and I'm doing well, making a lot of money, but it doesn't fulfill me.
Yeah.
What do you advise them?
So I would work with her to figure out, okay, well, what is that? Because she knows, like
Everyone knows. Yeah.
She knows what it is, right? Or she knows what she needs to get rid of. And I see a lot of people is actually, they need to get rid of the husband. I'm seeing that more and more and more. Like so much, maybe it's because like I'm mid-40s right now and it's just happening.
Mm-hmm.
But she knows what it is. And I'm not telling her to blow up her job. I'm not telling her to quit. I'm not telling her, oh, be an entrepreneur and start today and invest in this. Like, absolutely not. I'm telling her, dip a toe in. How can we start? What is this other thing? Let's explore it. Let's do it. And like, let's give it some real estate. Let's give it some time. Where can you devote some time to this? And like for some women, it's like writing a book or starting a blog or starting this side business or joining a board or who knows, but it's where can we start small? And then again, making sure that she's really tuning into her body. And does she feel like contracted and constricted and she hates it? Or she's like, oh, this is pretty cool. Right. Like that's how my journey started. It started with me just really starting with 25-minute a day workout. Like that's how it all started, and I had no idea it would end me here. But again, it was like breadcrumb, sparkle, sparkle, sparkle until it got here.
Right. And that's so good because you never really know where something's going to lead. Right.
No.
So that's what I say. It's like, find whatever lights you up a little bit more, right? The better option and just pursue that a little bit.
100%.
And see where it takes you, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Wendy, where can people get a hold of you?
Yeah. The best ways, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, Wendy S. Meadows. I'm on Instagram, I'm sure I'll be in the show notes, but Wendy S. Meadows on Instagram as well. And then if they want a copy of the Pause Time Playbook, if they go to sparkleandgrit.com, they'll see it like 2/3 of the way down the page or sparkleandgrit.com/playbook. It's there. They put in their name. They get a free download. And that's the best way they can find me.
Oh, I love it. And all right. So your life in the next few years, what does it look like, Wendy?
That's a loaded question right now. So
okay.
This is good. We're all good. We're all happy. But my husband and I did decide to separate. And I don't know if I told you that before. No, we're good. We're good. It's like a very mutual, amicable decision. It's time for both of us and it's good for our family, I think. He's one of my
not everyone's supposed to stay together forever. I said that to someone and it's okay.
Yeah. The hardest part for all of us, and all of us being me, him, and our 2 kids, the hardest part of all of us is not having that family
unit,
being able to identify with that family of 4. But we're trying really hard to continue. I mean, we're separating for officially next week. Next week we'll start.
This is fresh. Oh,
boy. Okay. We told the kids. Yeah, we told the kids 2 weeks ago. It will start. We'll start nesting next week and see how that goes. We have no.
What does that mean? What is nesting?
So nesting is where the kids stay in the house. So the marital home, the kids stay put, and my husband and I do the moving. So we have a 2-bedroom apartment, 2 different. So people get very concerned about this. Like it's 2 bedrooms. We have our own bedrooms, our own bathrooms. We will share a kitchen and living room and laundry. But we're really great roommates. We're really great co-parents. So I don't see this being a problem. We have some ground rules. With regard to the apartment. We need to discuss ground rules with regard to the house. We'll get there. But yeah, and we have a schedule and the kids get to stay put. So they don't have to go back and forth yet. And that gives us a year to figure things out of what next. But I'm going to put out my dream. So this is my dream. As much as I love our house and I have spent so much time revamping that house and remodeling, and we have an amazing backyard. We built the backyard, so that is where the kids would come. But I can't take care of this house, at least, but not by myself. I can't. Or it'd be really hard or really expensive, right? My husband is amazing at doing the outside stuff. So it might come to a place where he gets to stay in the house, maybe. I don't know. But if I had my way, I'd have a place in the city, like in Baltimore City, and a place at the beach, Bethany Beach. And I get the best of both worlds because our 2-bedroom place is in the city, which I'm already really excited about because you can walk to everything. You can walk to coffee, into yoga, into working out, into like run and to the grocery store. Like, and we live in the boonies right now. You can't do that. So I'm excited for the next year. I'm really excited for that. But yeah, so I think over the next couple of years, it'll be really seeing how the separation works, finding new living. And again, divorcing myself from the idea of big house in the suburbs and country is meaning you made it. And like being okay with maybe a smaller house in the city. It looks different and it wasn't my plan, but it actually might be exactly what I need. And again, like using this next year, like I said, dipping a baby, like taking a baby step, dipping a toe in. That's what we're doing with this apartment for a year. Do I like steady living? And then just continuing to see where it goes. I think professionally, there's going to be a lot more speaking opportunities. I already see it. Like it's speaking opportunities. It's more books. I'm also writing Sparkle and Grit for the divorcing parent. I decided to write this book before I even was going to be a divorcing parent. So now it's that much more, what's the word I'm looking for? Meaningful.
Yeah.
And just continuing to see where this wild journey takes me.
Oh, I love that. I wish you well. Wendy.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much. We're gonna stop here. We're running out of time, but a big thank you to Wendy Meadows for sharing your story, Wendy.
Thank you.
And buy her book, Sparkle and Grit, Live a Technicolor Life by finally finding balance, escaping monotony, and beating burnout. You can hold it up. There it is. I'm Jill Conway, and thank you for listening to the show celebrating incredible women. I hope you're inspired to pursue your own goals, believe in yourself, and dream bigger. Your voice matters, and your story can help others. I hope you join me next time. Share this podcast with a friend.